Hello everyone and welcome. Today we are going to make some felt ball Christmas ornaments. Similar to the ones I made before. This is Chip and I did him in a previous video. Today we are going to start with some Alice in Wonderland inspired felt ball Christmas ornaments. So this is going to be a two-parter. This video we're going to focus on Alice, the White Rabbit, and the Mad Hatter. And in the second video, we will focus on Tweedledum and Tweedledee and the Cheshire Cat. So to start with, you're going to need a circle pattern, which I have on cardstock. This is a 5 cm diameter circle. And I've folded it in half so that when I get ready to cut, I can use this as a guide. So real simple 5 cm circle. You're gonna need the color felt that you want to use to create your character. So in this case, this is Alice. So when you look at the ball, you use 5 circles for the bottom and 5 circles for the top. And that's how you create your ball. So you need 10 felt circles all together. Now, they can be different colors, mixtures of pieces. So in this case, I am going to make Alice using her skirt and her apron colors. So I decided I was going to kind of do it in the same way I did Chip here. I was going to make, if you can tell, I did his like fur face color here with this many pieces and 2 pieces up here. And this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I want to do Alice's apron, I'm going to do 5 white pieces here and 3 white pieces here, and the rest of this will be blue. So to start with, I figured out that I needed 6 blue circles based on that idea. So you trace and cut out your 6 blue circles, and then I was going to need 4 white circles. So I already traced and cut out all of them. And then the next step in this is just to do the same thing that we did with these ones. We are going to glue them together along the straight side. So I just show you a little example here. You just put a little glue, just like this, little hot glue. I mean, you could use fabric glue or something, but that can take longer to dry. Hot glue is so fast, it's much easier to use. So you're going to do this with all of your pieces. Now let me show you what you need to cut for the other 2, and then we'll just go about tracing, cutting, gluing all the little cheese pieces, triangles, whatever you want to call them. They look like a little thing of cheese. So this is for Alice, so we're going to put this in a pile to the side. Now the thing you don't want to get mixed up is we're also doing White Rabbit, so we don't want to mix up our white pieces so that we don't end up, I mean, not that you can't figure that out, but. So for the White Rabbit, I decided to do his red for his jacket and white for his fur. Now in this case, the way I'm going to do it is this bottom bit will be completely white, but up here where I have Chip's coloring, or fur coloring here, I'm going to make these 3 sections white and the rest will be red. So when you count these, you're like, okay, well wait, that's not a full circle for each one, right? Because I'm using a half here. So you need 3 halves for the white. So we need 5 pieces, 5 full circles for the bottom, and you need 1.5 for the top. So we have to do kind of an extra circle when we're doing the cutouts. Instead of 10, we need an extra. So we'll have 11 total circles for this one. And that's just because of the way that I'm doing it. So again, you're gonna cut your circles, 4 red, 6 white, 4 red, 7 white, and you're gonna glue them into their little triangle piece. And that's for the White Rabbit. And now we'll put that aside. After we glue all those together, we'll come back to that. And then for the Mad Hatter, he's a little bit complicated as well. I have 3 colors of green here. The bottom green will be just this one color. That will be his pants. That's what I'm going with. And then the Mad Hatter has a darker green shirt or vest. I'm not sure if it's a shirt or a vest underneath there. And that will be this dark green. And then he has a jacket. Now in some things it looks yellow, some things it looks green, so I decided to go with a lighter green. So I cut 4 circles for that color. And again, the way I'm going to do that is this color here will be the entire bottom, and then these three in the middle will be his shirt, and the rest will be his coat. So once we get all these glued into our little things and we put them together, we are going to add some additional little pieces. Like I want to add his hat, and I want to add a bow for Alice's apron, as well as her hair bow on top. And then for the White Rabbit, I want to add ears. So we'll cut those pieces out once we get our initial ball created. So again, right now, just go cut all your pieces, and then you're going to, remember, you're just going to glue these together just like this to create that little triangle piece. So I'm going to glue all of these pieces together and I'll come back to you. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces cut out and made into our little triangle wedges. So now I have lined these up to get ready to glue them together to make Alice. So this top row here is going to be the back side of Alice. This will be all of her skirt, or dress I should say, because it's the back of her, top of her dress as well. So this is all dress, so that's all blue. This portion is going to be the front part of Alice. So the center will be her apron, and then still her apron a little bit with the top part of her dress. So the next step is to glue the two wedges that go together along the folded edge like this, just like this together, so that the part we already glued is a straight line and the folded edges come together. And even if they don't perfectly match up, just try to make sure this matches up. So let me just show you with one. Just like that. And it's best to line them up like this so you know exactly which one goes with which one. That way you don't make a mistake and pick up the wrong thing, especially if you're doing something complicated. If you're doing something easier that's just a solid section, like if you were just doing blue like this, it's easy. You just pick up one, connect it to the other, no big deal. But in this instance, when we're doing something a little bit more complicated, you want to kind of organize it. So I'm going to glue all of these together, and then I'll come back and show you what to do next. So the next step, now that we have these glued together, is to continue to glue them together. So we're going to take the back side first, because this is easier because it's all one color, and we are just going to run some glue along the edge like this, and a little dot here and a little dot here. And then we're going to take another piece and lay it on top, just like this, so that it lines up. Just hold it for a few minutes. Well, a few seconds, not minutes. And then do the same thing with the next piece. Just like that. So you're going to do the same thing with the rest until you have all 5 of your side pieces done. So I'm going to put that aside for a second. Now you're going to do the same thing with this, but you need to make sure you get it in the right order that you want it in. So let's start with, we'll start with this one. So we're going to glue along here, and then dot, dot, and then I'm going to put the white piece on top because we want the 3 full white pieces in the center between these 2 white and blue pieces. So then I can keep just gluing, dot, dot. Do the next one. Now when you do the next one, make sure you put it on the right direction. So you want it the same as this piece here. So that's the one thing you have to be careful about when you're doing these, is just making sure you get the piece where you want it to land when you glue it down. Otherwise, you're going to probably have to start over. So I'm going to let that dry for a minute. I'll finish this one. So the next part of this will be gluing them together to create the ball. But you want to make sure that your glue is definitely stuck or set before you try to pull it around. So to connect, this is the back. So this is kind of what it's going to look like when you spread it out to the front. So remember, this is the bottom of her apron. This is the top because this is the beginning of her dress. So we're going to glue, same way we glued the pieces together, we're going to just do the same thing. I'm just going to put a strip along here, dot, dot, and we're going to stick it together like that. So it kind of looks like that at the moment. So I'm going to let this sit aside for a minute, and I'm going to show you the pattern for the white rabbit so that we can get started on that, why this definitely sets. Okay, so this is the white rabbit. Now, we had one extra, remember, because we're not going to use these pieces because we needed halves. So the back side of the white rabbit is red on the top for the jacket, white on the bottom for the body or the fur of the rabbit. Then the front is 2 pieces of jacket on the outside and then 3 pieces of fur on the inside. So similar to our dress-ish, but not exactly. So before we start gluing these, we're going to go ahead and glue this. So you can see we've got our little accordion type thing going on here. So we need to glue this side together. So we're going to just do the same thing, but we're going to bring it around and squish it together. So you really want to get like your fingers in there and squish those pieces together to get them to glue. So same thing, line down the side, dot, dot, and then just bring them together carefully. So this is probably the hardest part of the whole ornament, is getting these glued together. So you're gonna have to hold that for a little bit. So I'm gonna go away and I'm going to let this, I'm gonna hold on to this for a bit. I'm gonna glue these together and I'll come back when I have that done. So here's what our Alice ball looks like so far. We'll add some finishing touches in a few minutes. I've glued these little wedges together. So now I am going to glue together my halves. So just like before, I'm going to glue these together like this. So you can kind of see. So that'll be that half. And then these will just go together just like this. And that'll be that half. So I'm going to glue the halves together and I'll come back and show you. So I have the 2 halves glued together, each half. So now it's time to glue half together, or both halves together. And remember, this is the top because this is the jacket. The red is the jacket. So you want the red to go with the red. Now, before I glue them together though, I want to add ears. Because the white rabbit has ears, so I want to I cut 2 shapes, excuse me, like this to look like ears. And I'm just gonna hot glue them in the back part of this side so that when they come around, they're gonna come like that. I just wanna make sure that they are sticking up and about even. So let me do that real quick. Just put a little dot of glue. Press it down. Another dot of glue. Press it down. I'm going to let that dry for a second. And in the meantime, I did go ahead and glue the little wedges together for the Mad Hatter. So if you remember, this color green is for the pants, this color green is for the jacket, and this darkest color green is for the shirt. So just did the same thing, glued the folded edges together in the pattern that I needed, and we're going to do the same thing, gluing them together. I'm not going to show that just for time's sake. So now that this is good, we are going to just do the same that we always do. We're going to put a strip down the side, dot, dot, and we are going to stick this together. Just like that. And again, I'm going to hold that for a little bit. So I'm going to let this set, and I'm going to glue these pieces together so I have each half, and then I'll come back. Okay, so now we're ready to glue our white rabbit closed. So we're just going to do the same thing. Get that nice and flat. Now this is what the halves of the Mad Hatter look like. That's the front with the shirt and the beginning of the jacket, and this is upside down, and that's the bag. So together they'll kind of, not easy to do when you're holding the other one. Anyway, they'll kind of be like this. So I'm going to hold this tight for a few minutes, and then I will glue this together to make it into a ball, because we're not going to do anything special to add anything before we glue it into the ball. And once I have them ready, then I'll come back and show you how we're going to finish these off. Okay, so we got this Mad Hatter ball glued together. So now we're going to do some finishing touches. Okay, so I made Alice a little black bow that I'm going to add right here to the top. And then I'm going to use a black ribbon to hang the ornament. So in order to close this hole, instead of like trying to glue it tight shut, I'm actually going to take and glue my ribbon together at the bottom. Just a little bit of hot glue. Like that. Put that aside, and then I'm going to take a tiny piece of rectangle felt, and I'm gonna glue a little strip of glue there, and I'm going to glue my ribbon there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap it like a roll it in there, I guess you could say. Now this you want to do in a corresponding color, whatever colors you're using. So I could have used white or I could have used blue. I decided to use white in this case. So you can add a little glue as you go along, or you can just add glue toward the end. Just be careful you don't burn yourself, because this is a little small. So once you do that, you'll have this little bit of ribbon with the felt attached. And so then I'm going to make sure you have the top and put a little glue inside there. And then I'm just going to shove this right down in there. So that closes up that little hole. So you can just hold it there for a minute, and it creates a nice spot for your ribbon to go to hang your ornament. So now I'm just going to take my little black bow and put it right in front of that ribbon, and that will be Alice. These little bows are really easy to make with ribbon and a fork. So that's what Alice looks like. Okay, so let's put her aside and we'll finish up the white rabbit. So if you remember, we put the ears on, we finished off the ball. So the next thing I want to do is the same thing I just did for Alice, and quickly do my ribbon. And I'm going to use a red ribbon this time. Now I also have a bow that matches the little bow tie that the rabbit wears in the movie. And then I also decided to cut a little heart out of red felt because when the rabbit changes his outfit when he's at the palace with the queen, he has a little white outfit on with a little red heart in the middle. So I'm going to just put that there like that. So I'll go right in the middle. So let me finish this piece. Little glue in the center. And again, you could have done this in red or white. I chose to do red. You just put it down in there, even with the top of the ball. Get rid of your little wispy cobwebs from your glue gun. And then with the little bow, I'm just going to do the same thing, put it right there at the top. Just like that. And then we're just gonna glue on our heart. Right in the center here. Almost kind of looks like a little nose too, but that's not what it's supposed to look like. But hey. I have to cut a little, I pulled a little bit of glue there. So voila, and the white rabbit is done. Now we need to finish the Mad Hatter. So remember, this is the Mad Hatter shirt, pants, jacket. Now for the Mad Hatter, I have the same setup. I have a green ribbon and a piece of felt to finish that off. I made a different color blue for his bow that he has on. Can't keep a hold of it. So I'm going to glue that on at the top as well. But I also, actually I'm not going to glue it on at the top. I'm going to glue it on probably somewhere in here because I need a little hat out of felt, and I have, oh, and that reminds me, I do have one more thing to add to the white rabbit. I made a little hat out of the felt. This is the pants color felt with a little piece of the dark green, that's the shirt part, and then I took a piece of white foam and made a little tag that has the same numbers that he has. So I haven't glued it together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the little tag on first. And I just cut this like freehand based on what I thought it looked like. And used a Sharpie to write the numbers on there. Now this is a little longer, but I wanted it a little bit longer so that I could have some room to cut it so that it was exactly the length that I wanted it once I had it on there. So this little excess bit right here, I'm just going to cut that off. So there's the little hat. So let me get the ribbon glued in and we'll figure out where we're going to put the hat. Now these little felt ball ornaments, you could make up all kinds of different ones. I was trying to think of an idea to do with these, and like there's just really so many options you could try. I was thinking doing dwarfs and Snow White would be fun, and maybe Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, and Dumbo and Timothy the Mouse. So I don't know if I'll get to them this time, but maybe I will. We'll see. But I think that'd be really cute. And like these are so inexpensive to make, and you could just use them to decorate your tree, to add to a present, you know. Really easy, creative way to add a little Disney to your tree. So remember, this is the top with the darkest green. And just open that up a little bit because it was a little tighter than the other ones, but that's okay. And we're just gonna shove this down in here. I use the jacket color to make this piece, but I could have used the the shirt color as well. Doesn't really matter. So there's my ribbon. So now let's see if we put the hat. Let's see if we put the hat. So I'm going to put the bow right here and the hat right here to the side. So I'm going to do the bow first because that's easiest. We're just going to set it right here in the middle of this one. And I also forgot, I'm going to add this to the White Rabbit as a little clock, because you know he's always late. Always got his not wristwatch, but his watch checking the time. So the bow on there, and we're going to glue this like this. So just kind of going to put a little glue here. Kind of stick it on there like that. And actually I think I might even glue the ribbon to the back of the hat just to kind of give it a little bit more something to hold on to, just because it's a little larger than other things that I've had sticking on here with other crafts, and I feel like it might give it a little better support that way, so it will look like that. So now let's add the little clock. I think I'm just going to put it like right over here like this. So I'm just going to add a little glue here and stick it here like this. So that's what that looks like. So here's all three of our characters. Lean him up a little bit. I think they turned out really cute. They were fun to make. So this was part 1. In part 2, I'm going to do Tweedledum and Tweedledee and the Cheshire Cat. So if you like this video, come back and watch that one. And if you like my videos and you want to see more fun Disney-inspired crafts, come back and watch again, subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment for me. Tell me what ideas you have that we could maybe work on, different characters for these kind of Christmas balls. Hope you enjoyed today's video, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.